Joe Biden has made moves that confirms a massive stimulus is coming. Let's discuss the details in this video, but before we do, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I'd also like to thank my sponsor Webull. They've partnered with me to provide free stocks for my viewers, valued up to $3,700. It's completely free and takes 2 minutes. All you need to do is open an account using my link. The link is in the description of this video, just below the like button. Feel free to sell the stocks immediately to use the money if you'd like. Just make sure to fully open an account and then click on the green button that says get free stocks. Okay guys, let's jump right into it, but before we do, I just want to remind you that if you still have not received that smaller $600 stimulus check, you can directly call the IRS to start a payment trace. And the number for that is on your screen, and I'm also going to include it in the description of this video, and that is a direct phone number to call the IRS to track your smaller stimulus check. Now, they are still sending out one wave of stimulus checks, so there is a chance you could still receive it, but most likely at this point you will have to claim it on your tax return to receive that stimulus check as a tax refund. Okay, let's jump right into it. Biden has done a couple of things that has confirmed that we will receive a massive stimulus. First of all, he has approved Democrats to begin that budget reconciliation process. And next week, Democrats will formally begin that process in conjunction while still trying to negotiate with Republicans. This sets the stage to get stimulus approved quickly, even if Republicans don't come on board. Secondly, Biden has appointed a Treasury Secretary that is massive on stimulus and is even gaining support from Republicans. And remember that the Treasury Secretary is very influential when it comes to these stimulus negotiations. Remember, Steve Mnuchin was not that big on stimulus. He was kind of a moderate in the middle between Democrats and Republicans. But Janet Yellen, the new Treasury Secretary, wants to approve massive stimulus and is gaining a lot of support from Republicans. Let's see what Biden and Janet Yellen both had to say. Biden has confirmed that he still wants to garner bipartisan support, but he will only give Republicans a couple of weeks, and Democrats are already moving towards a budget reconciliation.
You support passing COVID relief through budget reconciliation.
I support passing COVID relief with support from Republicans if we can get it, but the COVID relief has to pass. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Thank you.
See, Joe Biden continues to push for bipartisan support, but things have been moving much too slowly. Biden promised these $2,000 stimulus checks would go out immediately once he was inaugurated. Guys, it's been about 10 days, and we still are nowhere near getting that done. And this is why Biden has said that he still wants bipartisan support, but he will move quickly to the budget reconciliation if Republicans don't get on board. So Biden is starting to play a little bit of hardball with Republicans when it comes to stimulus. Now, his new Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, echoed the same sentiment and is pushing for a massive stimulus. And yes, she is even gaining a lot of support from Republicans. Let's see what she had to say.
When economists look back on the pandemic, I expect they'll conclude that Congress's actions averted a lot of suffering. But more must be done. Economists don't always agree, but I think there is a consensus now. Without further action, we risk a longer, more painful recession now and longer-term scarring of the economy later. The pandemic has caused widespread devastation. Whole industries have paused their work. 18 million unemployment insurance claims are being paid every week. Food bank shelves are going empty. The damage has been sweeping. And as the president-elect said last Thursday, our response must be too. Over the next few months, we're going to need more aid to distribute the vaccine, to reopen schools, to help states keep firefighters and teachers on the job. We'll need more funding to make sure unemployment insurance checks still go out, and to help families who are at risk of going hungry or losing the roof over their heads. Neither the president-elect nor I proposed this relief package without an appreciation for the country's debt burden. But right now, with interest rates at historic lows, the smartest thing we can do is act big. In the long run, I believe the benefits will far outweigh the costs, especially if we care about helping people who have been struggling for a very long time.
Guys, let me know in the comments if you agree with Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She is pushing for a massive stimulus, not only from an emotional standpoint. She is saying these people are struggling and these people need help, but also from a logical standpoint. She is saying that investing in the economy now would help us prevent a further recession and prevent further spending later. Also saying that if we boost the economy now, the government will get that back via taxes when the economy is stimulated, because more people will be working, more people will be spending money, and it is actually a good investment to spend this money through stimulus. She pointed out the fact that 20 million people are still unemployed. 20 million people. 8 million people were thrust into poverty this year during the pandemic. 8 million people thrust into poverty. And childhood hunger is at record highs in this country. Guys, in the United States, there should be zero childhood hunger. And let me know in the comments if you agree. She also pointed out the fact that we need more money for vaccines to control this pandemic, as well as more money to open schools safely, another unemployment boost, and stimulus checks to directly help the good American people. She pointed out the fact that interest rates are at an all-time low. And again, she is pushing for a massive stimulus, and she got some support from Republicans. Now, I just want to point out the fact that anytime a president tries to appoint someone to his cabinet, the Senate has to vote to confirm that appointment. Now, she received 85 votes in the Senate, 85 out of 100. So that means about half of Republicans voted yes for her as well, meaning that she has a lot of respect and a lot of support from Republicans as well. And she is one of the main negotiators to getting stimulus done. So will Janet Yellen have a lot of support from Republicans, and will that help in the negotiation with a massive stimulus package? Well, we'll have to wait and see if that comes to fruition. But so far, just based off of those votes to have her confirmed as Treasury Secretary, we are off to a good start. Now let's recap. The stimulus package is expected to include $1,400 stimulus checks, a $400 per week unemployment boost, more money for rental assistance, a $15 per hour minimum wage, as well as a child tax credit increased from $2,000 to about $3,000 or $3,600 depending on the age of your child, meaning that you could receive either $250 or $300 per month under this new tax plan. It also increases the earned income tax credit from $530 to nearly $1,500. It also increases the amount of people that would qualify for it from a $16,000 wage to $21,000, as well as including those 65 and older. Basically, Biden is trying to include more tax credits for millions of Americans to create a form of stimulus. Remember, those stimulus checks were actually a tax credit just paid in advance. And this is a similar thing that Biden wants to do with the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit as well. So Biden is continuing to push for bipartisan support, but let's be honest, this is not going well, right? It's pretty obvious that things have been going much too slow. He was inaugurated 10 days ago, and we're still nowhere near getting our stimulus package. Not only that, there's been a lot of shots fired from both sides. Democrats and Republicans continue to slam each other, despite the fact that Biden continues to push for bipartisan support. On the one hand, Pelosi continues to push for this impeachment of Donald Trump. Then a lot of Republicans also came out slamming Biden's $2 trillion proposal for a stimulus package, and Mitch McConnell was highly focused on that filibuster rule. Now, I talked about this in a lot of my videos, that Democrats have the power to remove the filibuster, which would pave the way for essentially unlimited, massive stimulus with only 51 votes needed, and Republicans would not be needed at all to get this approved. Now, Mitch McConnell was terrified of this happening, and he came out with shots firing, saying that if Democrats do this, it would be a scorched earth Senate, and he would further find ways to not let anything get through with other loopholes he could use in the Senate to further block anything getting done. So obviously, this was not a good start for stimulus, right? This is not a good start for bipartisan support. And we've all been talking about for months the relationship between Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden. They have a history of decades of working together and decades of enjoying working together to getting deals done and even respecting and possibly even being friends. But we are not off to a good start, right? We are not off to a good start for a bipartisan level. And this is why Joe Biden has said he still wants to get things done with a bipartisan support, but he will not wait months and months to get this done. He is heeding the advice from people like Bernie Sanders, telling him to move quickly, and he has given Republicans about 2 weeks. And if they don't get on board, they will move forward with that budget reconciliation to get stimulus done as quickly as possible. Now, the good news is Democrats are now formally beginning that formal budget reconciliation process just in case Republicans don't get on board. Now, Republicans are really, really pissed off about this. Republicans are telling Joe Biden, hey, you want to do this at a bipartisan level, but at the exact same time, you guys are beginning that budget reconciliation process. Well, guess what? We can't wait. We can't negotiate for 2 weeks and then begin that budget reconciliation process. Democrats want to begin this at the same exact time so we can get this done more quickly if Republicans don't get on board. But this is further creating a divide between Democrats and Republicans. But what do Republicans expect? We cannot wait any longer, and we need our plan B in place just in case we can't get this done at a bipartisan level. Now let's see what top congressmen had to say. Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Steny Hoyer from the House. Chuck Schumer said that Democrats will have to move forward without Republicans if they do not back another aid bill. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said that beginning this process now will give us the option of using budget reconciliation to advance a stimulus package if Republicans don't get on board. Nancy Pelosi said that they are working on a COVID stimulus package that is based in budget reconciliation, should that step be needed. She also added that we expect and hope Republicans will back a stimulus package, but Democrats will not take any tool off the table. This is really good news when you combine the fact that the new Treasury Secretary is pushing for a massive stimulus package, she has some support from Republicans, and at the same time, Democrats are working on that budget reconciliation just in case Republicans don't get on board. Now, of course, Republicans continue to push back, saying that the country is in too much debt, despite the fact that interest rates are at all-time lows and we are in the middle of a pandemic. Of course, a lot of economists agree that we did not act quickly enough after the 2009 financial crisis, and more stimulus would have actually helped a lot of people avoid suffering, as well as stimulate the economy, creating more jobs, creating more spending, and in turn creating more tax money, which would then basically give the government their money back from that stimulus, right? It kind of makes sense. Invest the money in stimulus, create jobs, create spending, and then the government will get that money back via taxes. And this is why Joe Biden is pushing for a massive stimulus package. He was the vice president during the last financial crisis, and he is on record as saying that they did not act quickly enough and they did not spend enough to help people recover from this crisis. Now, we've talked about this for months. Will Mitch McConnell be willing to compromise with Joe Biden? Well, guys, we're not off to a good start. There still is a chance that McConnell would be willing to compromise, and we still do think that McConnell genuinely likes Biden. But overall, we have yet to see that come to fruition. We're still hoping that happens, but we're still having trouble seeing that relationship help stimulus come to fruition. Now, not only that, this budget reconciliation might have some pitfalls as well, because some Democrats have signaled that they might not be on board to vote for this. And remember, we need all 50 Democrats in the Senate to vote yes, unless we can get a few Republicans on board. Now, senators like Joe Manchin of West Virginia has said he may or may not vote for this budget reconciliation. And that is a massive problem because we basically need all Democratic senators to vote yes for this, right? So we'll have to wait and see how Democrats respond as a whole and see if they are able to pass this budget reconciliation quickly. Joe Biden's press secretary, Jen Psaki, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, it's Psaki, she is echoing the fact that Americans need help now and we need to move quickly. She said, the needs of the American people are urgent, from putting food on the table to getting vaccines out the door to reopening schools. Those are not partisan issues. We are engaging with a range of voices. That's democracy in action. We are not looking to split the package in two. Now, she's referring to the fact when she says we are not going to split the package in two, that some Republicans are pushing Democrats to cut these things in two. Okay, maybe approve stimulus checks, maybe approve money for state and local governments, but then push everything else later down the road. Kind of the type of sentiment that Republicans have been pushing throughout this entire pandemic. Just piecemeal deals here and there. We'll do a small deal, then in a few months we'll reassess this. Now, Joe Biden does not want to do this, and Press Secretary Jen Psaki is echoing the fact that they want to pass one massive stimulus package immediately. And guys, jobs are still abysmal. Now, unemployment claims fell to about 900,000 last week, but we're still close to 1 million. Take a look at this chart. Throughout this entire year, unemployment slowly went down, but we have basically flattened out at about 1 million new unemployment claims per week. Guys, that is 1 million people every single week losing their jobs. Not only that, experts think that when you include those who are unemployed, those who are underemployed, so those who are not getting enough hours, and those who are fully employed but are making poverty wages, that is about 25% of our country, guys. 25% of America is living in poverty, either through unemployment, underemployment, or making a poverty wage, guys. And this is why Democratic leaders are pushing for a raise in the minimum wage. Joe Biden is pushing for a raise to $15 per hour, and Nancy Pelosi and Democrats have proposed a Raise the Wage Act, which would eventually raise that minimum wage to $15 per hour, and Bernie Sanders is pushing strongly for this as well. He said that McDonald's workers in the U.S. make $9 per hour. McDonald's workers in Denmark make $22 per hour. They also get 6 weeks of annual vacation, they have a union, and a 1 year of paid family leave when they have a child, as well as life insurance and a pension. This is for people who work at McDonald's in Denmark. Compared to America, where they make $9 per hour, they essentially get no paid vacation and none of those benefits. He said that America must join the rest of the industrialized world and ensure that our working class can live with dignity. And guys, let me know in the comments if you agree. Personally, I do think this minimum wage should be raised, especially during this pandemic, guys. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate your support. And if you made it this far, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. I will have updates daily on that next stimulus package, including negotiations between Democrats and Republicans, the possibility of that budget reconciliation process, more stimulus checks, another unemployment boost, more money for rental assistance, and more money for those on Social Security as well. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching my channel, and have a great day.